They say the Cold War was fought in shadows, but those shadows weren't confined to the battlefields of Korea or the nuclear silos in Russia. They stretched into laboratories, hospitals, prisons, and even into the homes of unsuspecting American citizens. While the public feared missiles, another race was unfolding, a race to master the most dangerous weapon of all, the human mind. In the years after World War II, the CIA quietly launched a series of experiments unlike anything in history. Some were crude, others were sophisticated far beyond their time. All of them were buried under secrecy. These weren't hypothetical. They were carried out on soldiers, prisoners, patients, and ordinary people who never volunteered. Many never knew. Many never recovered. What you're about to hear tonight isn't conspiracy theory. It's history, documented in declassified files, whispered through testimony, and pieced together from fragments that survived attempts to destroy them. So, as always, welcome, my friends. Pull up a seat by the fire or settle into your favorite chair. Let the shadows close in. Tonight, we step into the darkness of files they tried to erase. This isn't the whole truth. It's only what they couldn't destroy. Welcome to The Truth in the Shadows. Approved in August 1951, Project Artichoke began under the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. Its goal? To find out just how far human control could be pushed. Declassified documents show chilling ambitions. One 1952 memo reads, "Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation?" This wasn't interrogation as we imagine it. It was psychological warfare, hypnosis mixed with drugs, sensory deprivation combined with forced conditioning. Artichoke targeted POWs, suspected spies, and even unsuspecting Americans. Techniques included cocktails of scopolamine, sodium pentothal, and amphetamines to break resistance, LSD trials long before the public even knew the drug existed, isolation chambers, leaving victims in darkness until their sense of time collapsed. Victim testimonies decades later tell us what it felt like. A former Navy sailor, known only as Subject A-19, testified in 1977. "They put me in a room with no light for days. When they brought me out, they told me my name was something else, and for a while, I believed them." One European double agent endured 77 consecutive days of LSD dosing. Witnesses claim he began speaking fluently in a language he had never learned before collapsing into permanent psychosis. An operative later admitted, "I watched a man lose his entire sense of self over a week. By the end, he didn't know his own name and would respond only to the code word we'd given him." So here's the question. If the CIA was testing these methods in the 1950s, what does that mean for what they're capable of today? Could the science of control be far more advanced than we've been told? While Artichoke and MKUltra worked to shatter minds, MKNAOMI was designed to shatter bodies. From the early 1950s until 1970, MKNAOMI partnered with the U.S. Army's Special Operations Division at Fort Detrick, Maryland. Its purpose: develop biological weapons for covert use, pathogens and toxins designed to kill without leaving a trace. Declassified inventories included anthrax spores prepared for aerosol release, botulinum toxin capable of killing within 24 hours, saxitoxin, among the most lethal compounds known. A 1960 CIA memo lists casually 2 hollowed-out silver dollars containing shellfish toxin, lethal dose upon ingestion. Field testing is believed to have occurred abroad. In Panama, locals described wildlife dying overnight. Birds dropping from the sky, fish floating belly up. Internal memos from the same period reference successful field dispersion trials in tropical environments. The most infamous case linked to MKNAOMI is Dr. Frank Olson, a bioweapons scientist at Fort Detrick. He allegedly witnessed human test subjects exposed to aerosols overseas. His son, Eric, remembers, "My father told my mother he had made a terrible mistake and couldn't be part of it anymore. A week later, he was dead." Olson was covertly dosed with LSD during a CIA retreat. Days later, he plunged from a hotel window. A 1994 autopsy found cranial injuries inconsistent with a fall. Was he silenced for what he knew? And then there's Subject H722, a detainee in Southeast Asia. A declassified after-action note reads, Subject expired within 90 seconds. Agent dispersed at 0300 hours. No trace detected by local authorities. If these capabilities existed in the 1960s, what might be possible today? Have the weapons only grown quieter, smaller, more invisible? Chapter 3, MKUltra, Rewriting the Mind. On April 13, 1953, CIA Director Allen Dulles authorized MKUltra. Sidney Gottlieb was put in charge, and what followed became one of the most infamous and misunderstood projects in U.S. history. MKUltra wasn't a single program. It was an umbrella of 149 sub-projects spanning universities, hospitals, prisons, and safe houses. Funding flowed through front groups, so most researchers never knew they were working for the CIA. Methods tested included LSD, mescaline, and psilocybin in massive, repeated doses, sensory deprivation tanks, leaving subjects hallucinating within hours, hypnosis layered with drugs to create post-hypnotic suggestions, electroconvulsive therapy far beyond medical norms. At McGill University, Dr. Ewan Cameron's psychic driving left patients destroyed. He kept them in drug comas for weeks, shocking them daily while looping phrases over loudspeakers. Survivor Linda McDonald testified, "When I woke up, I didn't know my children. I didn't know my husband. I had to relearn everything, even how to use the toilet." Prisoners weren't spared. In Kentucky, inmates were given LSD daily for 174 days straight. One wrote, "I lost all track of time. I thought the guards were angels and that I had died." High-profile individuals were touched too. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, endured brutal psychological stress tests at Harvard linked to MKUltra funding. Mob boss Whitey Bulger was dosed repeatedly with LSD in prison. Many victims never recovered. Some developed schizophrenia-like symptoms, others committed suicide. And when the program risked exposure, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all records destroyed in 1973. Around 20,000 misfiled financial documents survived by accident, breadcrumbs to a nightmare they tried to erase. So ask yourself, if this is what they admitted, what didn't survive the shredder? In 1955, the CIA opened safe houses disguised as brothels in San Francisco and New York. Prostitutes on the CIA payroll lured men inside. Drinks were spiked with LSD. Behind one-way mirrors, agents watched and recorded. George White, who ran the San Francisco site, later bragged, "Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, cheat, steal, rape, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest?" Victims reported waking up in strange apartments, wallets gone, minds fractured. One said, "The wallpaper moved. I could hear my heartbeat in the floor. I remember telling her things I'd never told anyone, not even my priest." In one bizarre anomaly, two men dosed on separate nights described the exact same hallucination, a man in a silver suit watching from the corner. These were not isolated cases. Operation Midnight Climax ran for a decade, producing mountains of tapes and reports, none of which were ever meant for public eyes. Let's go over Sub-Project 54, also known as the Perfect Concussion. Sub-Project 54, run with the Navy's Underwater Sound Lab, aimed to create the perfect concussion, sound and pressure waves capable of disabling targets without visible injury. Methods included infrasound blasts causing vertigo and nausea, ultrasonic pulses leading to disorientation and blackouts, shockwave bursts paired with strobe lights, and oxygen manipulation. A technician remembered, "It felt like the room tilted 45 degrees. I tried to say my name and couldn't remember it. When I came to, I didn't recognize the petty officer in front of me." Animals collapsed instantly at certain frequencies. 3 sailors, exposed separately, experienced cluster amnesia, failing to recognize each other minutes later despite years of service together. Internal memos claimed the research was more humane than bullets. Another noted bluntly, "Non-marking coercion equalizes deniability in contested theaters." Though most records were destroyed, echoes of Sub-Project 54 resurface in modern directed energy research. And now for the Montauk Project, is it myth or continuation? Camp Hero at Montauk, New York, has become legend, a Cold War radar base whispered to host experiments stranger than fiction. Alleged objectives included mind amplification, remote viewing, trauma-based conditioning, and even manipulation of time itself. Witnesses described the Montauk chair, a device of coils meant to amplify psychic energy. One technician recalled, "When the carrier ramped up, you felt it in your teeth and spine." Self-identified Montauk boys claim they were taken as children. They pick kids no one would miss. We'd get a ride to the base, go underground, and the clocks didn't make sense down there. Locals reported electrical storms on clear nights, compasses drifting near the base, and sealed tunnels not marked on maps. While no declassified proof ties Montauk to MKUltra, the similarities in methods are undeniable. By 1975, the Church Committee exposed fragments of these programs, but with most records destroyed, the full truth remains hidden. Victims testified, psychiatric patients who lost their identities, prisoners haunted by flashbacks, families shattered by silence. One 1963 CIA report admits, no project was ever deemed conclusively successful, but continuation is advised for purposes of future potential. And continuation is exactly what many suspect. Modern research into neuromodulation, data-driven behavioral profiling, and directed energy weapons echo the ambitions of the past. These experiments aren't just history, they're warnings, and what I've shown you tonight is only the tip of the iceberg. So I want to know, which of these programs do you believe went further than we've been told? And would you like me to dive even deeper into the files, testimonies, and shadows that remain? This is The Truth in the Shadows. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop asking questions.